Coming up on Rambler Sports Locker, we've got an action-packed episode for you. We're talking through our dream Thanksgiving football team.
Plus, a look at the bowl season so far.
I'm Aneesah Shealey.
And I'm Sophie Colson.
All this and so much more.
Rambler Sports Locker begins now. The city is getting ready for the cold as temperatures begin to drop and students are getting ready to venture home for this upcoming Thanksgiving break. Make sure to bundle up when walking around campus and finish the semester off strong. Hang in there, Ramblers.
As we gear up for Thanksgiving break, let's give a shout out to all of our athletes who show up and show out on the courts and fields. Speaking of Thanksgiving, this next segment is stuffed with information.
Speaking of stuffed, I sure am ready for all things Loyola sports, but also for a delicious home-cooked Thanksgiving meal. Man, do I miss my mom's home-cooked cheesy potatoes.
I always love piling up my plate with mac and cheese and greens. And while we're piling up information, here's Natalie King with the Rambler Rundown.
Welcome back to another edition of the Rambler Rundown. Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and I'm thankful for how well our Loyola teams did throughout the week. Last Friday, the men's basketball team was in New Jersey to play Princeton and left with a win of 73-68. The women's team also had a successful weekend on the road, defeating SIUE Edwardsville 57-52. Both basketball teams played in Gentile on Tuesday in an exciting doubleheader. Stay tuned for more on that later. The women's volleyball team played 2 games at George Washington over the weekend, winning Friday's match 3-1 and Saturday's match in straight sets. Today, they will be in Dayton, Ohio to play St. Louis in the first round of Atlantic 10 championships. The Ramblers enter the tournament as the number 3 seed after finishing the regular season 18-11 overall. It's the season of giving, and our Loyola teams have certainly delivered. That's all for this week's rundown. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Natalie King.
Thanks, Natalie, for keeping us informed, as always. Now here's Kirstan Richardson with our updates on the Chicago Bulls.
Thanks, Sophie. The NBA season is here with a lot of twists, turns, and surprises. I want to talk about the Chicago Bulls and what they're doing so far. But first, I want to take a moment to talk about Bulls legend Bob Love, who passed away at the age of 81 after a long battle with cancer. Love started his NBA career in 1965 and played for the Bulls for 9 seasons. He averaged 21.3 points and 6.8 rebounds, earning his jersey to be retired. He will be missed. Currently, the Bulls are 11th in the Eastern Conference with a record of 6-10. The Bulls seem to be steady in their offense, with Zach LaVine leading the team with an average of 22 points per game. Josh Giddey leads the team in assists with 6.4 per game, and Nikola Vucevic averages 9.6 rebounds per game. For defense, Kobe White has a total of 20 steals, and Vucevic has 13 blocks so far. Things haven't been the easiest for the Bulls. They faced the first-ranked Eastern Conference team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, last week and lost twice, 119-113 and 144-126. At one point, the Bulls had a 4-game losing streak against the Brooklyn Nets, the Utah Jazz, the Dallas Mavericks, and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Many people believe that this Bulls team will just be the team from previous years, average and trying to survive. But we'll see how things shape up for them through the rest of the season. And speaking of basketball, let's see what Caroline Lyngen has to say about our women's basketball team who played earlier this week.
We're here in Gentile Arena where Loyola women's basketball just defeated Valparaiso. We have your highlights.
Loyola women's basketball versus Valparaiso was sure to be a show-stopping performance, with both teams coming out aggressively on offense. Loyola had a dominant first quarter with some strong layups and good baskets. As the third quarter started, Valparaiso began to pick up some steam, becoming more and more aggressive on offense. Valparaiso junior Macy Rhodes managed to score 10 points against the Ramblers, bringing the score at the end of the third quarter 48-42. in favor of the Ramblers. With Valparaiso quickly gaining speed on defense, Loyola's head coach Allison Guth knew there had to be some changes made.
Always got to take a step away from this one because I'm a keep it a buck type of coach and transparent. We're walking away from this game a little bit unsettled from a perspective of we have a ton of respect for Valpo, really tough schedule they played coming on in. But we got to have a little bit of more respect for ourselves. I expect that this Gentile, the fan base, get entertained with great basketball for 4 quarters.
After a quick pep talk on the sidelines, Loyola came out swinging in the 4th quarter. Under the leadership of grad student Nay Bernat, Loyola was able to come out on top, 70-62.
And the reason we're able to win a game like this is a collective effort, but I would say the leadership of Nay, and it's not just how she scores the ball, but she was a voice in a lot of those timeouts trying to settle the troops when we lost a 20-point lead. So very proud of our leadership in finding a way to get to the dub.
Loyola women's basketball will travel to Charleston, Illinois to take on Eastern Illinois November 23rd. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Caroline Lyngen.
Thanks, Caroline. Sounds like a great game for our women's basketball team. Now, Thanksgiving food is sure to always knock you out. Speaking of knockouts, what did you think about the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight, Sophie?
Well, I think we all saw a little bit more of Mike Tyson than I anticipated. Overall, though, I'm glad he was back in the ring. With his thoughts on the fight, here's Brandon Wolak on the Rambler Rant.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Rambler Rant. Last Friday, a boxing fight drew over 108 million viewers on Netflix. The fight, 58-year-old boxing legend Mike Tyson and 27-year-old former Disney Channel actor Jake Paul. While Paul won the fight, the real losers were the viewers. For a fight that was based on pretty much name value only, you had Mike Tyson, who's 58, you had Jake Paul, who is 27. Tyson, who's gone through health issues as of late, Jake Paul, who's been getting more into the boxing game. I support his decision to go into boxing. Do I support the fight here? No. If the real boxers of the world, the best ones in the world, we're never going to see on a name value. We only see really the most popular fights by the most popular names. And I'm no boxing enthusiast, but that's just kind of how boxing works. Overall, you don't see the big names. The big names aren't as known to the public, and that's something that boxing needs to do if they want to get on the map. In reality, it was the women's fight when Katie Taylor took down Amanda Serrano that ended up being the big show. Although that ended controversially, it wasn't that big of a spectacle as many seem to think it would be. And to cap it all off, you couldn't even watch half of it. For whatever reason, Netflix's buffering symbol was the main thing that people were watching on the boxing fight. And if you look at the stadium in one of the pictures, it even shows the amount of people that left the fight early because of how it just wasn't that entertaining. In the end, both stood in there, both stood in to keep it close. Tyson never went down. For his age, that's very impressive, but overall, very disappointing result to something that was hyped up for so many months. That's a rant. Sending it back over to Aneesah and Sophie.
Thanks, Brandon, for your insight on such an interesting matchup. Now, Joe Mangold will give us the deets on the top 3 NFL games ever played on Thanksgiving Day. Take it away, Joe.
Today, I'm here to talk about my top 3 NFL games that were played on Thanksgiving Day, based on significance and, of course, the scores. Starting off 1934, the first Thanksgiving game in NFL history featured the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions. 26,000 tickets were available for this game and were sold out 2 weeks in advance. The Bears beat the Lions 19-16. But the success of the game itself established football in Detroit on Thanksgiving Day as a long-lasting tradition and established Thanksgiving Day as a time for football fans to love and enjoy. Next, we've got 1977. Set a record that has only been tied once since then. It was not the 55-14 win that the Miami Dolphins had over the St. Louis Cardinals that broke any record, but instead it was quarterback Bob Griese, the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins, who threw a Thanksgiving record of 6 passing touchdowns. In 2004, Peyton Manning would also tie that record with the Indianapolis Colts. Last but not least, 1980 once again featured the Chicago Bears and Detroit Lions. It was the first ever Thanksgiving NFL game to go into overtime. the Bears won the game 23-17 as Dave Williams returned the overtime kickoff for 95 yards and sealed the Bears' victory. You know, funny, the Bears were good in historic games. Seriously, can we get that back? I want a good Bears team for once. Thanksgiving Day football is an exciting tradition, and what's also exciting is an undefeated men's basketball team. Let's take a look at my highlights from Loyola men's basketball game against the Southern Utah Thunderbirds. I am in Gentile Arena after the Loyola men's basketball team defeated the Southern Utah Thunderbirds. Here we have your highlights.
After a great defensive start by both teams, Sheldon Edwards Jr. and Des Watson light the fire for the Rambler offense as they both put up 3 each. At the end of the first half, the Ramblers were ahead 35-32. Early in the second half, the Ramblers show an incredible amount of ball movement as they ride the momentum that started in the first half. Starting guard Des Watson states the team is prepared for war after tonight's performance.
No, we prepared for war, so I don't think the worry is the word. I think we're ready for it. We didn't accomplish what we accomplished one part of what we wanted to accomplish last year, winning the regular season championship, but we want to go farther. We want more. We got guys that's hungry, new guys that's hungry, coaches hungry, new coaches hungry, everybody. So managers. So we all ready for sure.
The Ramblers won against Southern Utah Thunderbirds 76-72.
Back here Saturday, November 23rd at 5 as we play Tulsa. This is Joe Mangold from Rambler Sports Locker.
Thanks, Joe. What a great season so far for men's basketball. Now, here to discuss their dream Thanksgiving Day football rosters are Caroline Lyngen, Joe Mangold, and Brandon Wolak on the Ramble.
As Thanksgiving gets closer, I wanted to challenge our very own reporters to build their dream Thanksgiving backyard football team. Today, Brandon Wolak and Joe Mangold will take their turns drafting their dream players and building that winning team. All right, Joe, I'm going to start with you. Any player, any position, any team in the history of football. Go.
All right, well, let's start off with the basic quarterback. Best mobile quarterback, best moving quarterback, best evasive quarterback, Lamar Jackson. He's going to be juking people left and right, so I got to take him to start.
Nice. I like it. I like strong start. Brandon?
I'm going to take a more historical approach to this. Peyton Manning had a 6-touchdown game on Thanksgiving back in 2004 with the Colts. I'm going to take him. I think he can really – it wasn't not the most mobile quarterback, but he definitely could throw bombs when need be.
Good point. Good point. Maybe a brother situation, building that team. I guess we'll figure it out. Okay, Joe, next pick. Who are we taking?
Next pick, I got to go with the Chicago legend, Walter Payton.
Oh, wow.
I mean, just the best running back you got out there. This guy will not only truck through a man, but again, will juke the living crap out of everyone.
Yes, wow. Passionate. I like it. Brandon?
I'm going to go with Barry Sanders. Historically, Detroit and Dallas always play on Thanksgiving, and so why not go with the Detroit or Dallas player? Barry Sanders at running back, phenomenal running back, one of the top 5 of all time. I think it goes without saying. He's going to be hard to stop. I want him on my offense.
Absolutely, especially in the backyard. I feel like he's going to take it up.
He might physically lift up the backyard by running.
Exactly, and that's kind of what you want for that team.
Exactly.
Right. All right, third pick. Who are we taking?
Going with one of the scariest tight ends in the league. Well, retired now, but Rob Gronkowski. That man. I mean, I don't think anyone's stopping him. He can jump over a dude. He can catch over a dude. Mm-hmm. I don't think anyone will be able to keep up with him.
He is tall, so that's going to be crazy.
Absolutely.
For sure. Brandon, who are we taking next?
I'm going to take my own Chicago legend here. I'm going to take Mike Ditka. Almost 90 years old now, if not 90. I've got to check that. But historically, one of the Bears' best tight ends, one of the Bears' best players, coaches, has done more for this franchise than basically everyone else involved with the franchise.
Yeah.
So for Ditka, easy tight end pick.
Yeah, especially as a Chicago family. If he's showing up to Thanksgiving, it's treasure.
It's a historical moment.
It's a great
it's a
day.
never forget.
All right, final pick. We're rounding out our team. Who are we taking?
Got to go with one of the best current wide receivers, Justin Jefferson.
Wow, the Jet, Minnesota. Let's go.
Exactly, the Jet himself. Who's stopping that? You got him running one side, then you got Gronk on the other. I don't know about you guys, but I'd leave the field if that was my situation.
Unstoppable. In the backyard, too?
Absolutely.
If you get a little mashed potatoes in them, I feel like they're going crazy.
Absolutely.
After that Thanksgiving dinner.
Of course.
Brandon, last pick.
I'm going to go with the receiver that I wish I got to watch more of, but he played mostly before my time, Randy Moss.
Oh, another Vikings legend. Come on.
Exactly. Vikings have their way with wide receivers, and this guy, he was with the Patriots. He even finished his career with the Jets, I believe. Randy Moss, overall, one of the greatest receivers to ever do it, and one that unfortunately never got a Super Bowl, but he could get a backyard bowl here.
Absolutely. Are we doing any touchdown dances when we score?
Well, of course. I mean, Jefferson's got to do the gritty. How else are you going to do it?
Getting that out in the backyard?
Absolutely.
What about you?
Similar to Randy Moss, I think him and Jefferson go 1-for-1 with the gritties here.
Great choices. Great choices. Well, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you for joining me. Happy Thanksgiving to anyone, and I'm going to send it back to the anchors now.
Thanks, everyone. Let's hope that all of your Thanksgiving football dreams come true and that the turkey isn't dry this year.
And that there isn't a repeat of Paul versus Tyson at your Thanksgiving tables. That wraps up this episode of Rambler Sports Locker.
To stay up to date on all things Rambler Sports, be sure to follow us on X, TikTok, and Instagram at Loyola RSL, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
From all of us here at Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Aneesah Shealey.
And I'm Sophie Colson.
We'll see you next week, and don't forget to turn off the lights.